Welcome, strangers, to Small Talkumentary on MMDTM Radio, a show where we watch documentaries and then get together and small talk about them.
Welcome, everyone, to MMDTM and our first episode of Small Talkumentary. This is a little bit of a spin-off of shorts, a shabbity shoe. It's kind of a combination of podcasts. My Mama Done Told Me, which is what the three of us do, and another Welcome Stranger Media podcast called Talkumentary. That is a show where we watch full-length documentaries and then we get together and we talk about them. This is Small Talkumentary, so we watch shorter documentaries or
just talk about them for,
and we just talk about them for a little bit shorter time.
Yeah.
Same concept, a little bit shorter. This will be a part of our recurring rotation of variety shows here on our MMDTM show. And just like the rest of our episodes, this will be right around 30 minutes. Hopefully, if I can talk fast enough and keep it succinct, might have to cut some things out, but that's right. So if you haven't checked out Talkumentary, go check us out wherever you find your podcast. We're going to have a link to that in the show notes. The entire first season is available now. Anyway, welcome. I am your host, Jeff Kolaski, and in true My Mama Done Told Me fashion, I am joined by Sister Lauren.
That's me.
And Mama Kathy.
That's me.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Welcome. I don't know about you, but like all week I've been kind of excited to do another documentary episode.
Yeah,
it's been a little while. And when I watched the documentary, I didn't take a bunch of notes. It was really nice because I usually with documentary, I spent like 3 days getting an episode together, and that was just too much. But so doing it again, but in a much more relaxed fashion. I would like to maybe bring in some of the folks from that show from time to time to do a few of these. I think it's like a short and sweet version of documentary. So
there's so much you can do with it because like this one is a part of a series. You can kind of do it that way too. It's kind of fun.
Well, I watched and listened to all the past documentaries, but I've never been a part of one. So except I did that one cat when I forgot.
His eyes went.
I forgot I was
You
on
did.
one. That was a long time ago, though.
It was. All right, so let's get a few things out of the way. Go rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast streaming service. Let us know what you think of our show. If you want to connect with the MMDTM family, you can find all of our social medias in the
Show notes.
Or you can shoot us an email at
mymamadonetoldmepodcast@gmail.com.
This week, for our first episode of Small Talkumentary, we wanted to kick it off with an episode from the hit Netflix series that gives a horrifying look into some of the worst cohabitation experiences ever documented. That show is called Worst Roommates Ever, or Worst Roommate Ever. Specifically, we watched the recently released first episode of season 2, titled My BFF Tried to Kill Me. This was a pretty wild one.
It definitely was.
This is the story of Rachel and Janie. Two longtime friends turned roommates turned caregivers. Started as a seemingly mild obsession by Janie towards Rachel's attention. Turned into a custody battle, questionable hospitalizations, and ultimately an attempted murder. Real quick, directed by Cynthia Shilda, written by William Brennan. Film was a Blumhouse television production, distributed and streamed on Netflix. We'll have all that credit information in the showing notes. Let's get into it. If you haven't seen it, this is your spoiler alert. Mom,
Yes.
could you tell us why we watched Worst Roommate Ever? My BFF Tried to Kill Me this week, because you brought this up.
I watched the whole series.
Why talk to me about this?
Well, when I'm in my sewing room, I sometimes want to watch a documentary. And Cold Case has always been one of my favorites. And for some reason, I stumbled on this one, and I watched the first episode of season 2, which is what we're talking about tonight. And it sucked me in. And I wanted to watch
all of them.
Yeah.
And so I
Back to
did
back.
all in one day, back to back.
Did you watch season 1 as well?
I haven't yet, but I'm going
I have.
to.
I watched all of
That's
them.
on my list for this week.
I actually hadn't seen the season 2 at all, but I'd watched maybe the first 3 episodes of season 1, and it's really good. But I can't binge them like that.
I
this
watched
one
them
creeps
all in
me
one
out.
day.
Me too. I can go breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I could probably, but I have people in my house that don't like that on all the time. It gets a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this type of creepy cohabitation? Do you think draws us in the way that it has? Why is it so captivating?
Oh, I just think so much of these particular ones I feel like it's preventable, and it doesn't get prevented, and you just kind of keep getting deeper into it, and then you just can't get out. I don't know. I'm not a horror flick person. I don't like horror pictures. I don't really like
Horror picture.
the horror picture.
Criminal Minds. Is a little too much for me.
Yeah.
But these are like, you can't take your eyes off of it. You can't.
Well, it's
It's
different.
almost like a train wreck. Where it's like
it is.
when,
It's like
when you've
watching
got,
an accident. It's like, oh my goodness.
well, and when you know it's true
Yeah.
crime.
girl, you know, it's girl, you know, it's girl, you know, it's
true crime is so much more creepy. And I think something about this episode was that you can kind of see the how it could happen. Like, yes, when I'm watching it, I say,
You
why?
stupid
You're
idiot."
stupid. Why are you letting her back into your life? And
Yeah.
we'll get into
Yeah.
that a little
Yeah.
bit. But you can also sort of understand when you're in such a low point in your life and
Yeah.
you need the help, and you're getting, it's sort of like an abusive relationship or a
Yeah.
toxic
That's exactly
relationship.
what I have in my notes. Is that it's a perfect like domestic
Yeah.
violence between usually a couple,
Right.
Yeah.
and they were not a couple; they were just friends and roommates. But it was the exact same thing as an
Absolutely. Yep.
abused woman.
Well, and
syndrome.
it's like boiling a frog. You don't really notice how hot it's getting until
you
it's
get-
too late,
yeah.
and then you're
yeah.
That's very true. So
Yeah.
a few details about this movie. It followed the life of a young woman named Rachel, who after a divorce befriended a woman named Janie. They became quick friends, but they were very opposite. Janie was much more quieter and reserved, and Rachel was very social and outgoing and loved doing the duck face and selfies. And
I have on my notes, the duck lips are killing me.
yeah, it's a lot.
She had to have injections.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No shade on Rachel, but
Rachel,
but
we're glad
yeah,
that you're okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we're glad you're okay.
Because of their situations, both a divorce and an attempted intrusion, I believe they both would feel better with a cohabitating
Somebody
with a
there
roommate.
with them.
And it was financial too.
Financial,
It
yep,
was definitely financial for Janie or for Rachel.
yep. They moved in together, and after about 14 years of living together, which
That's
I've had
crazy.
roommates. I've never lived with anyone besides mom and family,
Yeah.
and my
Right.
first apartment for more than a couple of years,
Right.
which is crazy. But Rachel got pregnant with her son Ryder, a really cute autistic young boy. And Rachel started having some health issues, trouble taking care of Ryder. She had some back issues. They didn't really get into
I
where
think
that.
she
Just
had
like
some kind of an
slipped a disc
accident
or
because she was an EMT. She had a good job.
Yeah.
She was an EMT, and she
Yep.
and had some kind of an accident that injured her
Okay,
back.
I couldn't remember if they said
Yeah.
that there was something there.
Mm-hmm.
But she had this little baby boy, and he has some disabilities, some trouble learning, things like that. And so she has her best friend Janie there to help. And Janie
Yeah, sounds
kinda
like a sweet deal.
yeah, absolutely. Who
Like,
wouldn't
oh,
want that,
thank
right?
goodness I have this person here that is
Right.
willing to help me
Yep.
raise my child. And because she also said the father he opted out.
Yeah,
He
that
didn't-
was her words. He
Yeah.
opted out. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully he was
Well,
opting in some of his paycheck.
I
but
doubt it, but
things got dark though. As Janie, something, I don't know if it switched or if she was playing long game here, but she made
man,
an
that is a long game.
right. She made an attempt to sue Rachel for custody of Ryder, purposefully getting Rachel's surgery sites infected. I'm going to go through these details real quick, and we can go back into some of these. But she purposefully got some of her surgery sites infected that she was helping her care for, which almost killed Rachel once. Then she got insulin off the dark web, which almost killed Rachel again. She was injecting her with this insulin, making her blood sugar plummet way, way low. Eventually getting caught by the FBI because she ordered Versa on the dark web, which is a type of staph infection that's completely resistant to antibiotics, which was another murder attempt on Rachel. We get to the end of the episode. We find out she was only in prison for like 25 months, which is insanity.
Right.
And at the end of the episode, she's still saying, I'm going to find a way to get Ryder. And we fade to black. That's the long and short of the movie. Right. So if you're watching this, hopefully maybe you've watched that episode. We don't need to go into those details, but I want to talk about what some of our standout moments were. That's my favorite part of Talkumentary is what stood out to you. Lauren, let's start with you. What was some of the standout?
Oh my gosh, for the love of all that is holy. If you have to go to the hospital and you get better and you get worse again when you go home, you are being poisoned. Right. Something isn't right. You need to stay away from whoever's in your home. It's like a tale as old as time.
Right.
Why do you keep
tale as old as time?
But for real, I mean, and she's another standout moment that I had was when she was sitting watching true crime with her and basically telling her how to kill her.
Yeah. That's wild. So,
oh my gosh.
So on that same thing, before you go too far away from it, I'm with you. I wrote down here, I can't believe no one suspected Janie at the beginning because they were even questioning Rachel as to whether she was doing it herself.
Right.
Why would no one have been like,
who do you live with?
And that was a standout moment for me, or the whole standout thing was, where were her friends and family?
Right.
Why weren't they? I mean, I feel like Rachel was in such a vulnerable spot.
She was.
She had no money. She was sick. She couldn't work. She had a little baby. There were so many things that she needed help with. And, Janie's doing it for her. But she had a sister. She had a sister there, and they saw red flags, and they even brought things up, but they didn't really do anything about it.
Here's where go ahead. Sorry.
But then at the end, the one sister, I think it was her sister, said, we would have never guessed that this could have happened. What are you talking about? Right. You saw red flags the whole time, and you didn't get involved.
Yeah, so the only thing when I was watching that maybe could give some sort of, I don't want to say it's a good explanation, but some sort of explanation for that would be Rachel mentioned at one point, I'm a lot to handle. So what we're seeing of Rachel is what's showing on this 1 hour long episode, right? Very vain, you can tell.
She's in chronic pain too. She has chronic pain, so that can't be.
Highly medicated.
Right.
Yeah.
She might be, and I'm just putting this out there based on her own words and the context clues throughout the episode, she might be a high maintenance, hard to handle person. There has to be a reason that her sister wasn't living with her and taking care of. There has to be a reason that her dad wasn't taking more responsibility.
She could have put some kind of a distance between them. That we didn't hear about.
If she was very, very difficult to handle, and the family's kind of going, yeah, Janie's kind of weird, but she's sticking with her. She's helping her out. Like, maybe this is okay. Maybe they were willing to let some red flags go to the wayside because what else do we do? Because I can't take her in.
Right.
We all maybe,
I'm not willing to do that.
Right. We all maybe know some people that we go, that person's a lot, and it would be it would take a lot for me to want to really do so.
Help them in that way. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That is
We're
true.
seeing one side of the story.
Yep. For me, the biggest standout here, and the biggest where you stand up and want to throw your remote at the TV or whatever, is after the custody battle thing. When she sued, Mom, go ahead. You clearly want to say something about this one. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, she took her back.
Yes.
After that,
I know
that was the turning point for me. Is like, okay, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And I did want to throw the Ramones.
Right.
That you are really
Yeah.
letting her come back after that.
First
she
of all,
was-
can you really just sue somebody for custody of their kid? Like, could I
I don't
just
know.
sue for custody of my friend's kid? Like, that
Well,
doesn't make any sense.
I think you could if so. They even said in the episode she was living there, so they were cohabitating, and Ryder, the boy, was part of that household
And liked her a
and liked
lot,
her,
like
and she
Jamie.
was a part-time caregiver to him. She sued, saying that Rachel was addicted to medication. She was not a fit parent. Well, the courts and all that, the only thing they saw is this mother is unfit. She's addicted to medication, so we have to follow up on the wellness of this child.
Right.
As soon as they went and talked to Rachel and said, "Oh, she didn't mention anything about your surgeries.
Yeah.
She didn't mention anything about your health issues. She didn't. All she said was you're an unfit parent and whatever." It was all thrown out as soon as they
Right.
went and talked to her.
Right.
And there was-
Rightfully so.
There was a lot of time in there where Rachel was on her back, unable to do anything
Right.
for
Yes.
Ryder, and Janie had 100% care of him.
Right.
I can see how she would fall in love with him and become,
Same.
but she's a nut.
But
Yeah.
but to say, well, I want you to be mine.
Yes.
And
And
That's
I'm
where
willing
the
to kill your
psychosis-
mother to get there.
Yeah.
Like, that is
That's
crazy.
where the
Yeah.
psycho part comes in.
Right, and this should be a mini series or something, because it creeped me out so bad when they went to the schools.
Oh.
And she was
Yes.
like, she knew everybody, and she was
like the mom.
like the mom, and she knew like all the other whatever. And it was funny to me because up until then we had been made to believe that Janie was a very antisocial person. But once she got into the mom role, that she
And she
apparently
kind of
never
came
got.
out of her shell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she did.
now she wants to be little Queen Bee, because
Well,
she
and
even said that.
Yeah.
I think what really creeped me out was that she was rubbing stuff into
Oh,
her
my
wound site.
stomach.
No, it looks
Janie
great to
kept
me.
saying, "Looks just fine. Everything
Right.
looks great."
Like, you didn't look in a mirror? Like, you didn't
Right. You
she
took
say,
enough
take a
self-
picture of
took
it and
enough
let me see
selfies
it?
and, yeah. You could just put your phone back here and take
Yeah.
a picture of your neck. So that's a good point. That's in my notes. We were told that we were never told what Janie was doing when she was rubbing that wound. Are we to believe that she somehow got a MRSA strain and
I
was
I
rubbing
think
it?
she
so.
did. I think she had some kind
Because
of.
the only thing that the FBI found on her dark web thing, which doesn't mean that she couldn't have
Right.
found it some other way. And I mean, how else do you get a MRSA
I
virus?
don't know.
But would be, it just said that she was rubbing it. So is there other ways to
Well, maybe the
she was-
infection just.
right? Maybe she was wiping her butt and then
Oh,
and then
gosh, just
just
putting-
saying,
Maybe.
just to
putting
get it
foreign-
infected. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, but to me, it's going. Stop rubbing my
Yeah.
dang wound.
Yeah,
What are
ow.
you doing?
First of all, it hurts.
It hurts.
and it's not ever getting better.
I have another question
Yeah.
about this, because I feel like, did they ever tell us what Janie did for a living? Because where in the hell is she getting all this? First of all, how does she have time to take care of Ryder all day, every day?
Well, yes, they did mention
can't
it
remember.
because she had a job, but I don't remember what it was.
shoot,
and
I
then
can't
she
remember
then
either.
and then she started. She started getting money from the state as an in-home caregiver to Ryder.
Okay.
Because she was able to. They mentioned it in there. She
Right.
had 2 incomes.
Okay.
And that's why she was doing so well. Rachel even mentioned she was doing pretty well financially.
I was
because
gonna
she
say,
was
like,
getting money
I
from the
can't
government.
imagine that the dark web is cheap,
Right,
right? Like, if you're going on the dark web and purchasing a weapon of mass destruction,
right. Yeah,
I can
mean,
imagine that this probably and paying to have it expedited so she can have it the next day.
Right. They did mention her job, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
I didn't even remember them saying anything about it.
Yeah. So Rachel, she strikes me as a very, very naive person. Again, not to throw any shade there. She was going through a lot. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in that situation. Again, did she really not think that Janie had it in her to do this?
Right.
Like,
That's why I
she-
think she was
yeah, she
somehow.
Is she purposefully being, or is she that naive? At the end, okay, for example, at the end, I was impressed with Rachel because she made a comment, Janie tried to ruin my life, but she just ruined her own.
Mm-hmm.
She was staying pretty strong, but I would argue that she came pretty dang close to ruining your
Right.
life. I
But
mean,
3
several
times.
Killed her.
Yeah.
3 different ways. Well, 4 different ways if you count trying to take your kid from you.
Yeah.
Because that would just about rip your
Right.
heart out of your chest in
Right.
and of itself. And then the multiple times insulin, the MRSA, and the Versa.
Right.
You kidding me?
Right. And so do we think that Rachel was just really that naive? Or
I think she was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and she didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think
and
she
you,
was
and
almo-
you're in denial because
Yes.
what would she do without her?
Yeah,
Right.
she'd be in a homeless shelter
yeah.
like she was for
you put
however
your
many.
blinders on
Yep.
and you ignore some of the red flags because like you just said, she had when she moved out away from Janie after the first time she got sued for custody, she had to go to a women's shelter
Yes.
with her son.
Right. And that's
And it
not,
was- it's-
I mean, you
and
can't
it-
live there with
And
a
she's got an
child with
autistic son.
Yeah,
An
just
autistic
a-
son.
So he
who
needs some
was-
special needs.
Right, who was getting worse when he was at that shelter. He wasn't comfortable or happy. She wasn't comfortable or happy.
And then he was happy when
When
Janie
Janie
then
came.
wanted to connect with them again.
Right.
Yeah.
The little boy became happy.
Yeah.
And she,
So you as a mom go, was she just being whatever?
was it my
Like,
imagination?
Was it
I
my
mean, has-
imagination? Or you start
Yeah.
getting into your own head and
maybe
and
she had a
saying,
good reason to do that, and
and
now
I
just
got
do
nothing
better.
else to do.
Yeah.
Because again, we go back to her family. Clearly, there was a reason she couldn't go with her sister or her dad or anyone else, right? She
Yeah.
had to be.
And that's
There
sad.
a bridge must have been burnt at some
Yeah.
point,
something
or
there that we don't. know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's sad.
yeah.
Absolutely. All of that to be said, and Janie's now out of prison. We're to believe she's still going to come after Ryder. I see a horror movie in the making.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, this
no kidding.
this
No
Blumhouse
kidding.
made things like The Purge and all
Yeah.
that, so it's a horror movie.
It is a
company that
horror
did
movie
this. So
company.
they set it up to
Yeah.
be as captivating as it was, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they did too.
We're running short on time,
Okay.
so that's going to be good on standout moments.
Yeah.
How did we feel after watching it? Quick, succinct. Mom, how did you feel? The
I just
credits
wanted to
roll
see-
on this one, and
Well,
what happens?
I wanted to go to the next episode. I immediately wanted to watch the next one
Yeah.
But on this story,
on this story.
what was in your gut when this story ended?
I don't know how to articulate that.
Okay,
It made me sick.
Yeah.
It made me sad for her.
me too.
It made me it made me hope that I would never get in a situation like that, that I would see
Or
things
let
and
anyone I know.
yeah, I mean, let
Yeah.
anybody ever take advantage of, and that I would never be in a situation that I would have to make choices that she had to make.
Right.
So I felt grateful for a healthy life.
I know.
Yeah.
Lauren, how about you? What were your feelings?
Oh
at the
man,
credits?
I just felt creeped out. That lady, you know, even though she looked like
Normal.
a normal
They looked just
lady,
like normal
she was just. I mean, by the end, it was like you're seeing the same photos over and over and over again. But as the story went on, you could like it was
You
almost
start to
like her
see it,
eyes
yeah.
are like
Yes,
darker.
Exactly.
Like
Well,
you
that's
could
power
see the
of
evil.
suggestion in play
That's
because
true.
you know
Yeah.
they not to get too far into this, but psychological studies they've put pictures of people up and then they tell
normal people.
yeah, and then you tell them what they did and all of a sudden they don't look like
Then
normal
they're
people
then they're
anymore.
creepy all of a
Yep.
sudden. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So for me, it feels like anymore. I'm not surprised or shocked to hear about
Right.
stories like this. It feels like we get very saturated with this crazy, desperate stuff that happens, and it's so sick.
Yeah.
And I
Because it's real.
yes,
Yeah.
and that and the criminal justice system is complicated and flawed, and you know. Hats off because they do the best they can in most situations, but even that is not good enough in a lot of ways.
Well, that's why I was glad to see that FBI agent, you know, that the FBI had been kind of watching this
Right.
too. And
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
it kind of was.
I felt sad, a little bit
Yeah.
scared
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of how
Yeah.
Because you never know somebody. She knew her for like 25 years.
Right.
You never know who's going to be the one to turn on you.
right.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
could be your best friend in the whole world, the only person you even trust to be
Wow.
around your kid or
Right.
whatever.
Yep. Was this a well-made documentary?
Yes.
I thought so.
I thought so too. I actually felt like it was very well
And
made.
the animations were kind of fun.
Thank you
I
for
did
mentioning
like
that.
the animations. I did too.
If you watch our normal documentary show, you know that I hate reenactments. But when it's done like that, when it's done in an animation where I'm not watching some
And
cheesy
nobody's
actor
saying
going,
anything.
"Eh."
Yeah.
But I can.
It's-
Somebody took the time to animate that.
Yeah.
Is good.
Perfection.
Yes,
Yep.
I love that.
And they
I-
look like them.
Yeah.
They did, yeah. Wasn't like, you're not going to win any awards on that animation,
Right.
but it was just subtle enough,
Yep.
just got the point across enough to still get the point across, and I thought it was a decent
Yeah.
thriller documentary.
Yeah.
Let's rate this thing.
Yep.
We've come to the time in our show where we need to rate the documentary with an official small documentary rating. Each crew member scores the documentary on a scale of 1 to 10 items, with 1 being as bad as waking up in the hospital with a blood sugar of 13 and not knowing how you got there, and 10 being as great as a good old-fashioned duck face selfie.
Hey.
The item that is used for scoring changes each episode depending on the content of the documentary that we watched, and for this episode we will be using insulin injections as our rating item. So let's start with Mom, how many insulin injections do you give My BFF Tried to Kill Me?
I gave this episode 8 insulin injections.
Okay, do you want to justify that with some
Sure.
words?
Just because I really liked it.
Okay.
I hated it and liked it at the same time. It was a love-hate relationship because it was scary, but it was well done. It kept me it kept my attention through the whole thing. I couldn't wait to see how it was going to come back, and I wanted to keep watching these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought
The,
it was very well done.
For a true crime documentary or docu-mini series thing,
Docu-series.
yeah, you nailed it with it. I hated it and I loved it.
Yeah.
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 That's what makes a good one.
Yep.
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 So, yeah, okay, so 8 insulin injections. Sister, how about you?
I gave this 6 insulin injections, and the reason being, I probably would have scored it higher, but I was bothered by those couple pictures that they kept showing of Rachel where she had all that makeup shite all over her face.
Yeah, their eyelash mascara. coming out.
Oh my gosh! I was like, "Girl,
There
fix
was-
your face. You can take a selfie, but you can't wipe that mascara off your face."
Right. So I agree with you.
That kind of helped
The
to define
whole-
her a little bit, though.
Right.
All the selfies,
Right.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. That was an
annoyed
annoyance
me.
to me as well.
Yeah.
They repeated
The
pictures a lot.
All
And I
the
felt like
pictures.
there had to have been a way to get more pictures, get different ones,
of
so-
her with her kid or something.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
So I gave this 5 insulin injections, and I watched, like I said, about 3 episodes of the first season. I really liked some of those more than I liked this one.
Yeah.
This one was good.
was
Don't
good.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
So I put it 5 right in the middle. I didn't find it the best, but it by far wasn't the worst.
I think
of
I would have
these.
given it closer to an 8 had those pictures not annoyed me
Yeah.
so much.
Fair enough.
But because it did keep my attention, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time,
Yeah.
and I didn't see some of the,
Yeah.
twists coming.
You couldn't
so it's-
tell. You did,
Yeah, there was no way to know what was going to happen
Right.
next.
Yeah. Pretty wild ride.
Yeah, it was.
So after averaging everyone's scores, the official small documentary rating for My BFF Tried to Kill Me is 6.333 repeating insulin injections. So I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning into the very first episode of MMDTM Radio Small Documentary. As I said
Yay.
at the beginning, rate and review our podcast. Follow us on all the social medias. I'm not going to make you guys say our email address and shoy noise
Shoy noise.
again. Keep an eye out for the next episode of our recurring variety show here on My Mama Done Told Me. We're going to be back soon to Taco Bell documentaries on Small Documentary, and we'll do that one documentary at a time. Until next time, this has been My Mama Done Told Me. I have been Jeff.
I have been Lauren.
And I still am the mama cat.
And thank you all for listening. We hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. We love you.
Love you.
And
Trixie loves you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you want to connect with the MMD, talk to me about this.
I
Relationship.